Back on the Frisco RoughRiders pregame show, the RoughRiders come to the end of a 4-game homestand with the Corpus Christi Hooks today. And joining us for the first time on the RoughRiders pregame show is newly acquired right-hand pitcher Brodie Downs. Brodie, you spent the beginning part of the 2014 season in independent ball, the Atlantic League and the Mexican League. And, well, you were signed just yesterday, I believe. The deal officially went down with the Rangers, and you were signed here with us with Frisco. So it's nice to have you aboard. Thanks for taking time to join us on the show today. Take us through the process of how you first came into contact with the Rangers organization.
Well, when I was in the Atlantic League playing for the Barnstormers, I would send out my own emails to GMs and stuff and try to send them video and my stats going on, kind of being my own agent. I got a hold of Josh Boyd, and he got a hold of Mike Daly, and they came out and saw me in Lancaster. And we've been keeping touching base and waiting for the right time for something to open up in my situation. It's not an easy sign with my age and coming back. And happened a situation opened up, and I was in Mexico, and Mike called me, and I got on a flight the next day, and I'm here.
So it sounds like you maybe did your own pursuing of the Rangers a little bit. Did you look at all the injuries that they've been having and say, hey, maybe this is a club that could use me?
No, I wasn't looking at injuries or anything like that. Josh and Mike were one of the only organizations that were professional enough to get back to me a lot with emails. They would always return it even if they didn't have room, and I tried not to bug them at the same time, but I was persistent and I was pushing, because that's what you have to do as an older player that has the stuff to play in the big leagues, just waiting for that opportunity. Being persistent, I definitely got my foot in the door myself, and thank God Josh and Mike that they had the willingness to give me a shot.
You've played affiliated ball, of course, earlier in your career, but never more recently than 2009. Realistically, did you think you'd get another shot?
Well, I reinvented myself, so I did. I used to be an over-the-top starter, late reliever, and going back home, I taught myself not to throw. I always could throw sidearm, so I kind of got back into throwing sidearm, and I put up some great numbers last year in Lancaster. Started off pretty good this year and there, and it's a niche situation where there's not many guys like me throwing that way. The age is definitely an issue, but strike thrower like I am and getting the ground balls like I've been producing, I knew it would happen. I just didn't know when. But in this game, nothing's for sure.
And take us through your arsenal based on what we saw last night. Looked like you had a fastball sitting in the upper 80s and maybe a slider that was in the high 70s. Anything else?
Yeah, I throw a two-seam fastball pretty much all the time, 90% of the time. Throw a slider, and then I have a changeup I throw occasionally to lefties. Fastball, I've logged a lot. I used to be 90, 93 last year, and I've logged about 180 innings over this last year and a half, going from Australia to Atlantic League to Mexico to Venezuela, back to Mexico. So arm's getting a little tired, but I feel good. My ball's best around 87, 88.
You have a very interesting background outside of the world of baseball. You were drafted in 2007, but that was 10 years after you graduated from high school. What did you do in the interim between graduating high school and actually getting into professional baseball?
After I graduated high school, I was we were a blue-collar family. Didn't really think about college. Never took my SATs in high school. Never thought about that. My dad worked all his life, and that's figured what I would do. Loved baseball. Was pretty good in high school. Became a land surveyor at a civil engineering company called Thompson Heisel, and they trained me and got in the real world, bought a house, and I was working, 5 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night every day, 6 days a week, grinding it out, making money, doing that. So I was just a regular guy, and then I got back into baseball in the beer leagues. They call them the beer leagues, the Cal-Mex leagues on Sundays. Kind of got me back going.
Because you said that in high school you were a good player, but never really gave it much of a thought playing after high school. And so was it just playing in those Sunday leagues that planted the seed of thinking, hey, maybe I could do this for a career?
Yeah, well, it was, I got bigger, stronger. I was a 6'3", 160 guy when I graduated. And I think it was 2006, Butch Metzger, Texas scout, saw me throwing. He came to watch a third baseman on our team, draft and follow. And at this time, I was probably 6'4", 240. Started working a lot more after high school. I was throwing the ball 95 miles an hour. And he came up to me after the game, and he got the bug in my ear. And I actually, a week later, pretty much quit my job making $80,000 a year, went back to school. I stayed home with the kids during the day. Wife worked, and we went into the grind of baseball.
And you mentioned that Butch Metzger was the guy that kind of discovered you, and he, of course, is a scout for the Rangers, so it's interesting how this has all come full circle, as you were telling me.
Yeah, Butch is a great man. He's been in my corner for a long time. And he's the one that put it back in my ear. Even though Seattle was the one that ended up drafting me in '07. And I had a good run with them. They gave me a good opportunity. I had a bad year in 2009. Mom passed away and things like that happened. And, you have a short window in this game, mostly as an older player. I'm very fortunate that Texas has allowed me to maybe open this window a little bit more. Now I have to run with it and see what happens.
We're with one of the newest members of the Frisco RoughRiders, Brodie Downs, here on the Riders Pregame Show. And coming up the first time through affiliated ball, you were in the Seattle Mariners organization, and you made it up as high as AAA. Now you're back. You're in the Texas League. What are your initial impressions of Dr. Pepper Ballpark and the facilities here?
I'm impressed. Haven't been in AA since 2009. We didn't have things like they have now here. These kids are very lucky. I say kids, but these ball players are very lucky. It's a good situation here. Seems like Texas runs a good operation. You need something, and it seems like it's here. I'm very impressed with what's going on here, and I'm very happy that I'm here for however long that is.
Now, you come in last night, your first day in town pretty much, perhaps a little bit sooner into the game than you expected as well, just the third inning. Was anything running through your head when you stepped on the rubber for the first time?
I was working on 2 hours of sleep. I flew from Mexico. We got done with the game at 12 o'clock at night that night. I had to get on a shuttle to the airport about 3. Flight left early, got to the ballpark. So I was running on fumes, and I'd been a little bit sick with the Mexican food over there. But I was just going out there to do the job and eat some innings for the team. They told me my situation here, and I'm usually a back-end guy where I've been, but not going to be that here. I'm going to have to work my way into that. And I just want to eat some innings for the team and get some outs. And I threw better than my line score looked. I definitely feel that way, and that's the way I'm going to approach today if I get the ball.
And in that first inning, Corpus Christi was swinging the bat really well, faced 8 batters in that first inning. Was really fatigue maybe the overwhelming emotion, or did adrenaline kick in to an extent?
I think the first batter I came out, the guy I walked on a 3-1 count, I was a little humped up, and then I calmed down. Soto did a great job coming out and talking to me, say, hey, just work that sinker. You got a really good sinker. We're going to keep going with it. And that's my bread and butter. And we started getting the sinker. We got some ground balls. We didn't get a couple double plays. They weren't hit hard enough. And then, one guy fouled off, I think, 11 pitches or something on a 3-2 count, so I ended up walking him. Second inning, regrouped, got a quick, I think, 10-pitch inning and got some ground balls. It was a good outing. I was ready to go out for the third, and they were going to have me do it to eat another inning, but they decided not to.
Mentioned that your outing really was better than your line score may indicate. Were you satisfied with your performance overall?
No, never satisfied. I can definitely do better. The guy with me with the sidearm guy, I'm a strike thrower as a sidearm guy, and I can't come out and walk that first batter. Plain and simple. I'm an older player, even though I have less time than a lot of guys. I'm more mature. I need to come in and get that lefty to hit the ball to shortstop and get the momentum back in our way. So I put that on me, and I'll come out. I'm ready today if they need me, and I'll come out with that attitude of, stay a little more relaxed and get the ball down.
We're with Brodie Downs, right-hand pitcher on the Riders Pregame Show. You mentioned you're 34 years old. You turn 35 a week from now. Happy birthday, by the way. But given the nuances of your career path so far, obviously your career as a land surveyor and being in and out of affiliated ball, do you think maybe you're fresher than most 34-year-olds would be?
Absolutely. I think I'm fresher, and body-wise, I'm in good shape. I don't have the 14 years on my arm. Most guys that are playing this game at my age or in the big leagues are out of the game, because of injuries or whatever. I've never had an injury. Arm is fresh, and I can log innings. I mean, I've made 25 appearances in a month before in Atlantic League. I've gone 6 days in a row, so that's my biggest strength, is that I can go every day and really help a ball club out. Get that opportunity here, I don't know if we'd be able to throw a lot every day, but definitely fresher. I'd say it's a 25-year-old arm, doing there. That's kind of where I put it. And age is not a factor as long as you keep getting guys out and pursue it.
As we wind down here, when the Rangers finally called and inked your deal basically 48 hours ago now, did they say anything to you about what their expectations might be?
No, Mike told me straight up, he said, I don't know how long you're going to be here. I don't know what's going to happen, but if you want the opportunity, we are. And I said yes right away. I didn't even ask about money. Mexico, you make pretty good money. I wasn't even worried about that. I just wanted the opportunity. I run a baseball academy back at home, and a lot of the kids, it'll help them see the grind.
And lastly, what expectations do you have for yourself? What do you hope to accomplish while you're here in the organization?
Well, right now it's day to day. I'm hoping to get through the next 2 to 3 weeks with this organization. If I can get 2 to 3 weeks with this organization, I think they'll see the value in me, and then we kind of go from there.
Well, Brodie, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate you spending time with us again, just your second day in town. I'm sure your head must be spinning, and as you still continue to catch up on your sleep, thanks a lot for the generosity with your time. We appreciate it, and we're wishing you best of luck while you're here in the Texas League.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, he's Brodie Downs. We're back in a moment on the Frisco RoughRiders Baseball Network.